She didn't ask permission. She didn't knock twice. She just showed up Saturday morning with 11 women, 2 canvas tote bags, and the confidence of someone who had never once in her life been handed a consequence. My name is Gerald, retired electrician. 12 years in this neighborhood and the owner of a half-acre apple orchard sitting right behind my house that I have tended, watered, pruned, and talked to, yes. Talked to for most of those 12 years. Now don't laugh at that last part. Any person who's ever grown something from the ground up knows exactly what I mean. You put that kind of time into living trees, they stop feeling like property. They start feeling like family. One old Honeycrisp in the far corner. Planted it the year my youngest daughter graduated college. Still produces the best apple you'll ever taste in your life. And I will argue that point with anyone. That orchard was my quiet. My reward for 40 years of honest work. Early morning's cup of coffee. Walking the rows, no drama. No noise, no Diane. Which brings me to Diane 3 houses down. 4 years in the neighborhood. And in those 4 years, she had somehow appointed herself the full-time quality control manager of everyone else's life. She'd filed noise complaints about wind chimes. She once called an emergency HOA meeting over a front door color. She described in an actual written document as aggressively lime. The woman had opinions the way other people have furniture everywhere. In every room, completely unavoidable. We'd kept a polite distance. Diane and I, the kind that works fine as long as nobody pushes it. She pushed it on a Tuesday, showed up at my front door, looking like she was headed to a garden party. Pressed blouse sun hat, smile already loaded and ready to fire. "Gerald, I hope I'm not bothering you." She was absolutely bothering me. "My friends are visiting this weekend. Lovely women, very community-minded. And we thought it might be fun to walk through your orchard and pick a few apples. Just a casual little thing. Won't be any trouble at all. Now here's where I made my mistake. I didn't say no, I said I'd think about it." In Diane's world, those two things are apparently identical. Because Saturday morning, before I'd said another word on the subject, I heard voices outside set down my coffee. Walked to the back window, and there they were, not a few friends. 11 women moving through my orchard in small clusters, like they were on a ticketed tour. Chatting, laughing. One of them was wearing a visor, Gerald, like she was at a golf resort. And Diane was standing near my Cortland trees, with the relaxed posture of someone who had already, in her own mind, completely resolved any potential issue before it could arise. I grabbed my jacket and walked outside. "Diane, I don't recall agreeing to this." She turned to me with that signature smile, the one that says I hear you speaking. But I'm not really listening. "Oh, Gerald, you said you'd think about it, and I just thought who would possibly say no to something this sweet? It's a beautiful morning, the apples are at their absolute peak. And these ladies just want a little fresh air and fun." I looked around the group. Most of them hadn't even glanced up at me. One woman near the Honeycrisp, my Honeycrisp, was holding a canvas tote bag in each hand and examining a branch, like she was conducting a professional quality assessment. And that's when I saw the first bucket, just sitting there at the base of a tree. Cheerful little thing, like it had always lived there. I stood very still for a moment. Because here's what I've learned after 63 years on this earth. The most powerful thing you can do when someone is in the middle of making a serious mistake is let them finish making it. So I didn't say another word. I just watched and I smiled. What Diane didn't know, what none of those 11 women in their visors and canvas tote bags had any idea about, was that I hadn't spent 12 years building that orchard, without also spending 12 years building something else. Documentation. Every tree, every yield. Every harvest season logged, recorded and valued. And somewhere in my house, sitting in a folder I hadn't opened in 2 years, was a number, a big one. I went back inside, made myself a fresh cup of coffee. sat down at the kitchen table right next to the window, where I had a perfect, unobstructed view of the entire operation unfolding in my backyard. And I want to be honest with you. The first 15 minutes were almost impressive. These women were organized, not in the way that suggests innocence. In the way that suggests someone had done this before and learned from it. They had a system. One group picked, one group sorted. One woman, and I'm not exaggerating here, appeared to be doing quality control, holding apples up to the light like she was grading diamonds. The canvas tote bags filled up fast. Then came the second round of bags. Then a large plastic bin appeared from somewhere. I still don't know where that came from. It materialized like it had been waiting in the trees the whole time. By hour 2, the mood had shifted from casual morning stroll to what I can only describe as a light commercial harvest operation being run by a book club and Diane. Diane was thriving walking between the rows, hands clasped behind her back, nodding approvingly at the progress. Like a foreman on a job site she hadn't been hired for. At one point she actually said, loud enough for me to hear through the window, "You see, this is what good neighbors do for each other." I wrote that down, not metaphorically. I literally picked up a pen and wrote it down. Because here's the thing about documentation. It loves details, it loves dates, and it absolutely loves direct quotes. By the time they finally started wrapping up laughing, loading bags into cars, hugging each other goodbye like they just completed a charity event, my orchard looked like it had been professionally cleared. 40 trees, 3 hours. Not a word of permission ever actually given. I closed my notebook, opened my laptop, and started typing the most polite, thoroughly detailed, completely devastating invoice Diane had ever seen in her life. She'd called it community sharing. I called it $31,000. And tomorrow morning, she was going to find out exactly which one of us was right. Sunday morning, 7:45. I sent the email at exactly 7:46. No angry subject line, no dramatic introduction. Just 3 words in the subject field that I felt were more than sufficient invoice. Orchard harvest. The document itself was clean, professional. The kind of thing that looks so organized. It takes a moment to fully understand what you're actually reading. Itemized line by line, 40 trees listed individually by variety. Honeycrisp Cortland. Fuji Gala. Each one assigned its current market yield value based on the records I'd maintained for the last 12 years. Labor and maintenance costs per tree. Seasonal care estimates lost. Future yield, projection for the branches that had been overpicked and stressed. And at the very bottom of the page in plain, readable font, one final number, $31,000. I closed the laptop, made breakfast, fed the dog, took a slow walk through the orchard like I did every Sunday morning, checking on the trees, noting the damage, breathing in the cool air. My phone stayed quiet for about 40 minutes. Then it rang, I let it go to voicemail. Then it rang again. I let that one go too. The third time I picked up, Diane's voice had lost something. That particular smooth, unshakable confidence she carried everywhere she went. The one that had survived noise complaints and HOA disputes and aggressively lime front doors was completely gone. What replaced it was something much smaller. "Gerald, this has to be some kind of joke." "It's not," I said. "It's a standard commercial yield invoice, based on 12 years of documented records. I can send you the supporting files. If that would help silence..." Real silence, the kind Diane apparently wasn't accustomed to producing. "You can't be serious, we just picked some apples." "You harvested a documented orchard," I said calmly without written consent. "There's a difference." She tried 3 more approaches after that, friendly, then frustrated. Then something that briefly resembled an apology, without actually containing one. I stayed pleasant through all of it. "Because here's the thing nobody tells you about patience. It's not just a virtue, sometimes it's a strategy." We eventually settled the number. Came down through a formal HOA mediation process that Diane herself had, ironically, helped establish 2 years earlier. She paid not the full 31, but enough to cover every repair, every restocking plan, and one brand new Honeycrisp sapling. I planted right next to the original. The neighborhood found out the way neighborhoods always find out, quietly and completely. And Diane, she still lives 3 houses down, still attends HOA meetings. But these days when she walks past my property line, she keeps her eyes straight ahead. Some lessons don't need repeating. Some invoices speak for themselves. And somewhere in my backyard right now, that new little Honeycrisp sapling is growing just fine unbothered, unharvested and completely peacefully mine. And that was the last time anyone treated my orchard like it was a free community buffet. These days, my mornings are quiet again. Exactly the way I like them. Just the trees, the cool air, and the kind of peace you can only fully appreciate after you've defended it. Because sometimes respect isn't something you ask for. It's something people learn the hard way. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe. More stories, unexpected twists, and moments where patience wins in the most satisfying ways. All coming soon, and trust me, you won't want to miss what happens next time.